Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after from BHBN Radio. It is officially, I'm delighted to say, the Station of the Year, as voted for at the Hospital Broadcasting Association Awards on Saturday. We might mention that another 10 or 15 times during the time that we are together over the course of the next half an hour or so. I'm Ben Ellis, delighted to be with you. We are reacting to all of the action that we've watched, that we've reported on, and the action that we brought you across the wars. Brought you live commentary from two games over the weekend. We'll be discussing that and anything else that we have time for. Through the magic of technology and editing, we've already had a discussion about Aston Villa against West Ham. Had that with Rob Richards earlier. We'll be hearing from that later. So it does actually give us a bit of extra time to play with. As we're talking, the Carabao Cup final has just finished. Arsenal have bottled it, which is wonderful. It's not necessarily wonderful from a Manchester United or Manchester City point of view. I don't know got Man United from, but there we go. So Ed Mackay's with us. I'm with you, Ed. I'd be happy from a neutral point of view if it was null and void, but there we are. I suppose somebody had to win it.
Listen, anything Man City do is asterisked, as far as I'm concerned. So
Forevermore.
so
Absolutely. Yeah.
pass leg ahead the bottle.
Yep. You put that in our WhatsApp group all the time. Can you, without getting us sued, can you explain your nickname for Mikel Arteta as
Yeah,
Lego head?
I thought this is quite a common. I thought this is quite common. Just to think his hair, the way his hair stops, it looks like he's had his hair put on top. So, and also his features are sort of a bit Lego man like. He's Lego head.
Okay, well, he was looking rather stunned at his
Arsenal
team's.
fans are going to go crazy.
Well,
They
no,
hate that. Martin
well, they're
Keown's
not going
going
to
to
worry
be
about
crying.
little old us. They'll think they've got bigger fish to fry anyway. But there we are. Not a great weekend all round for the city of London. Spurs with what happened to them, West Ham and Chelsea as well. So yeah, it's quite nice, but there we are. Yeah, as I said, we talked about Villa against West Ham. We'll hear that later on. So we're going to look at the Championship first of all, and it's only fair that we do this, and we do this in the same way that we did it when it seemed like Eric Ramsey, when obviously it turned out to be the case, was under pressure at West Bromwich Albion. We are going to have to ask the same question about Chris Davies, with Birmingham City going down to a 1-0 defeat at Derby County. We brought it to you live on BHBN Radio. You can hear the highlights on the game from Kim Smith and Paddy Silk across all of our various platforms. And well, so I was watching it, and Jonathan Wimbush is with us, Enter Barefoot as well, and a new member of the team who we'll bring to you in just a moment, which we're delighted about. But Jonathan Wimbush, I'm going to come to you first on this one. See, it sounds like a dig if it comes from me because of my allegiances. I thought Blues were dreadful at Derby. I really did.
Yeah, and I said Pride Park would be a difficult place to go to. A 1-0 defeat against Derby County, but yeah, I mean, I didn't see the game itself, but from what I've heard, Birmingham did not play all that well. For the goal itself, it seemed like they stood still and just let the Derby players go through them to score that goal. But yeah, it's a very difficult one to take for Blues fans, I imagine. And yeah, as you said, Chris Davies, like West Bromwich Albion, with a manager under pressure. And yeah, I mean, they had an outside chance of playoffs, but I think that might have gone now.
Long gone now. Ed Mackay was
Yeah.
in the BHBN studio yesterday. They were poor, weren't they, Ed?
Yeah, it sounded like a really lackluster performance, and it sounded like quite typical away performance actually for Birmingham City. I mean, this has been a bit of I would say, a symptom of their season really, because when they're at home and they started putting a run together of good victories when they were at home, but whenever they've been away, they look like the underdogs, if you like. And I think I spoke to Nathan, one of our Birmingham City correspondents, after the game, and he was saying I think their away form puts them in like the bottom five, and their home form puts them in the top eight. So it does tell a story. However, I was at St Andrews last week for the game, and I don't think that well, we spoke about it last on the last episode. Now, I don't think that they gave it their all anyway. I mean, you, Ben, said that their season was in danger of sort of petering out a little if they didn't try to attack the playoff places. Now, I actually have a bit of perspective, and I don't think that they were ever good enough to get promoted or even maybe even make the playoffs. But you should go for it. I agree with that. And I don't think the players had the belief that they could get there. And so they've kind of down tools a little. And what I will say is I could hear it and actually had to ask Kim to turn her microphone away from the crowd because at the end of the game, when the players went over to clap the away fans, she was like, "Oh, they're chanting something to them. I wonder what it is." And I was like, "No, no, 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 no. Let's not get that on mic because I could hear very clearly what they were
Okay.
saying, and they were not impressed."
Okay. Enter Barefoot is with us as well. Uh, what I was seeing on social media, and I think social media, we should always caveat Ensign with nobody ever posts anything positive about the team on social media. It's where people go to vent, unless it's Piers Morgan. Mind you, I haven't checked out what he's put since the Carabao Cup final finish. I must do that. I must put that on my to-do list because that could be highly entertaining. But anyway,
Jockey
yeah,
will have something to say to him, won't he?
yes, yeah, I'm sure he'll be gracious in the extreme. But as far as Blues fans were concerned on social media, the accusation that a lot were putting at Chris Davies's door was that he's coaching the ability out of the players at the moment.
That's strong words, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's when you that's okay. So the element of your club not doing very well and the fans being frustrated, I understand that because we're all football fans and we can get frustrated with our own club. But that's a really below the belt comment, isn't it? Because then you think, well, okay, results haven't gone the way that they should have, but the only way you can improve it is by being together as a club, as a team, as the players. But the game, but there's no spark in that team at the minute. They've lost that spark, I think, and it's that, whether it's because of the games they're playing, how many games that they play in the championship, I don't know. But they're 10 points away from and from getting anywhere near the promotion element now. So that's not going to happen. So I was quite surprised that you've just told me that because that's really, really like concerning when you hear things like that, especially to a Birmingham are a big club, aren't they? So the fans are not very happy.
No, and there's a big danger that I'm a big believer in if you finish one season strongly, you start the next season strongly. But if you finish poorly, that can drag over into the next season quickly, Ed.
I will just say one thing. I do think that they do need to get some perspective. I mean, they are a promoted team and they are actually dropping points to teams that I sort of expected them to drop points to. I mean, they've got really upset about dropping points to Millwall, who are in fourth place in the league. Derby, they've been cemented in the playoffs for a while now. These are teams that I don't think they have any God-given right to beat, certainly not away. So I do think they need to get a bit of perspective. But of course, if you don't see your team putting it in, I can understand why that's created concern.
Well, what's going to be interesting over the next period is it's the international break coming up, and then we go into Easter. Now, a lot of clubs at boardroom level are going to be going do we stick or twist now for this final push. So going into the last international break on the back of a defeat and a poor performance, that's not something you want to necessarily be stewing on at the moment. I said we have a new team member, and I'm delighted to welcome Alistair Taylor to the Monday after. Alistair, welcome along. We are delighted to have you with us. You've kind of joined BHBN on a what's the best way of putting it? What would you call the experience that we're trying to give you here at BHBN?
like a temporary experience, maybe for
Temporary
like
experience.
a young want-to-be reporter in the future, I'd
Apprenticeship.
say. Yeah,
Apprenticeship, temporary. I
apprenticeship.
like
That's probably a
temporary
good way of putting
experience.
it.
That's generally how I regard my relationship with Jonathan Wimbush. So that's absolutely fine. Um, and in terms of learning the ropes, um, you're in the perfect place of writing down how not to do it. And I'm hoping we're giving you the best possible guidance as far as that's concerned. We're going to come back to you, Alistair, because you were at Solihull Moors game covering it for us over the weekend, which we will look at very shortly here on the Monday after.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
The Monday after from Birmingham Sport BHBN Radio, the award-winning BHBN Radio. We're going to brag about that for quite a while, I think. Through the magic of technology and some half clever editing, we're now going back to Villa Park, where it's just finished in real terms. Aston Villa 2, West Ham 0. Our own Rob Richards was there. He is still there, and we're going to talk about the game right now. Rob, first of all, congratulations to you for your part in BHBN winning Station of the Year.
Thank you very much, Ben. And of course, we're all as big as one another in this achievement. So, yes, and of course, well done to you, Ben.
Thank you. Now, on to more interesting matters as far as our audience is concerned. It's a case of, will the real Aston Villa please stand up? Because they did today.
Yes, yeah, definitely. And I think it may be all down to one man. Villa's performances are going to go on the upturn now through the reintroduction of John McGinn.
Absolutely.
We saw here today. We were saying on commentary, me and Alan Fox, that you can see that the rest of the team responds to the energy and the tenacity and what he gives you in midfield. And I think the players just raise their levels when someone like John McGinn, and of course, is the club captain as well. I mean, that's that's not a small detail to leave out either. Yeah, it was fantastic to see the effort, and particularly in midfield as well. Anana was fantastic, and he played the huge role in winning the ball back from Jared Bowen before the second goal was scored by Watkins. And of course, speaking of midfield and reintroductions, Yuri Tillman's coming on towards the end. So I think that will be the real Villa.
Yeah, it's the high tempo from the first minute. That's what they've been lacking these last few weeks. That they've been sort of ponderous, putting the foot on the ball, trying to invite the opposition onto them. There was none of that against West Ham. They were just out the traps and straight on West Ham in a flash, weren't there? And people who were saying, well, they had the Europa League game on Thursday night. I felt during the game on Thursday night that they were playing within themselves. Personally, I thought they were making a conscious effort to keep Lille at bay, knowing that they had the lead from the first leg anyway, and just getting the job done without overexerting themselves. And I think they very much had their eye on this game today against West Ham.
Yeah, definitely. I refuse to have that sort of thing now. The players get tired for a midweek game, and that's nonsense now with the levels and the treatments and the recuperations they can get. Now with all the massages and everything else. Yes, definitely, could have been a banana skin. Like we saw at Wolves as well, where Wolves just wanted to win more than Villa in that game, and it could have been a repeat of that because West Ham needed to win, and they've obviously ended today in the relegation zone, so they've really needed that today. And Villa, obviously, yes, they had the potential to let this one go, but in the end, they didn't, and they were just clinical, as they usually are, and what
Mhm.
we're familiar with.
Well, we're not here to talk about West Ham, but they must be kicking themselves given what was going on at the same time at Spurs. I mean, any sort of result, and Spurs would be in the bottom three now, and West Ham would have climbed out. I mean, I was quite staggered how. I mean, no, not that's wrong actually because Villa didn't allow them to get on
Hmm.
the front foot in the
Yeah.
first half. Um, but it was all Villa right from the off. West Ham had more of the ball in the second half after Nuno had made some changes at half time. But once the second goal came along for Ollie Watkins, who has obviously been struggling in front of goal, it was plain sailing from there.
Yeah, I think that really just killed the game off the second goal. Apart from Adama Traore, I think the rest of the West Ham players gave up really, and Traore himself was looking really frustrated in towards the end of that second half when he got introduced. Um, we hear sometimes if there's some games going on at the same time that managers are asked, "Oh, do you tell your players the result from the other fixtures?" And they always say, "No, no, we just concentrate on this game." But you wonder if this maybe was the fixture, maybe at half time for Nuno to go into that
Absolutely,
dressing room and to say, "Listen, it was 1-0 at the time.
it was.
Can we get something from this because we are down in relegation?" But Tottenham are being beaten, and it would have been 2-0 at the time at half time. If you can get something here, we potentially will be out of relegation. Um, we don't know if that happens or not. We don't know. Definitely, West Ham did come out fighting in that second half, but it just wasn't enough, and you can see why they're in the relegation zone as well.
Can I share a theory with you?
Okay.
Okay. Many people say it's difficult to balance this workload of Thursday night, Sunday, whatever. My theory is that Unai Emery prefers it. I think he thrives on it, right? Because if you think
Hmm.
of you think back to September, first 5 games of the season, they hadn't won, they hadn't even scored a goal, in fact. But it was
Hmm.
the
Yep.
Europa League game against Bologna, which was a kind of a laboured 1-0. In fact, it was John McGinn who scored the goal, and it ignited the season. And from there, they really didn't look back. And yes, you can point to the injuries of McGinn and Tillemans and Camara not having the Europa League. I actually think I think Unai Emery tends to overthink it if he's got too much time. And I think he prefers this, and I think you are going to see. I mean, it's awkward now because there's a 3 week break. It's an international break and the FA Cup immediately following. But I think Unai Emery prefers it when the Europa League's on the horizon.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That's very true. So, I mean, sometimes, like in people's personal lives, if they're going through some adversity, they just like to go, what, I don't want time off. I just want to go back to work
Yep.
because it takes my mind off it. And I
Yeah,
wonder
yeah.
if it's something similar to that kind of, we haven't got time to sort of rest on our laurels. We haven't got time to take the foot off the pedal because we've got a game in 3 days, for instance. We might have half a day off and now we've got to go back into training. I think that's a very fair point, Ben.
And all round, a fantastic weekend for Villa, given Liverpool and Chelsea losing, Man United dropping points as well, and coming up on the rails. I mean, it's very tight below the top six. Wins for Everton and Brighton. I mean, even Fulham are only 6 points or 5 or 6 points off the top five. Villa have now got that gap where they can look up at trying to keep a pace with Manchester United, which means they keep that gap below them. Chelsea, Liverpool, they have their issues. They are now trying to fend off both each other and the likes of Everton and Brighton and Fulham. Villa have all of a sudden through one weekend, having been in almost a desperate situation as we felt as fans throughout the last few weeks. They've found themselves now in quite a handy position.
Yeah, definitely. You want to start to be creating a gap, don't you, really, between the people behind you. And, if it's going to be a straight shootout between Villa and Man United for third and fourth, I'll happily take fourth as long as we
Yep.
can definitely get fourth. At that point, it doesn't really matter. Maybe apart from a small financial bonus, maybe third to fourth. But that's not to do with us. But yeah, definitely, you don't want to start to be drawn in by the teams below you. Um, likewise, it's easy to sort of say all this, and then you watch Villa lose the next two games, and that gap's gone again because we had a gap when we were third, and then Man United caught up to us. So it's easy to say that, but I did see after the Man United game against Villa, and obviously Man United won that one. One of the reporters asked Michael Carrick at the time, I think it was a 4 point gap between the two, and they asked Michael Carrick, and they said, "Oh, this looks now pretty much plain sailing. You've got third. Would you say the pressure's off, Michael? How do you say that when you're
Dismissive of
4
Aston Villa.
points? Yes, and
Yeah.
now look, we're back, and it's 1
Yeah.
point
Yeah,
behind.
that's right. Absolutely. And it will be Bologna away in the Europa League straight after the international break, and then Nottingham Forest away, which, these big games keep coming. And if our theory plays out, it'll be just what Unai Emery wants. Ollie Watkins getting his goal today, and this is the last point we'll make, getting his goal today, but not in the England squad. Well, at least he's not going to get injured. I think that's one thing we can look at, but he'll be looking for a decent run of goals now towards the end of the season to at least try and catch Thomas Tuchel's eye again.
Yeah, well, if that doesn't act as motivation to get back into the England squad, I'm not sure what will really. But I'm sure we've discussed before about we've got theories on Ollie Watkins' motivations as terms of competition maybe behind him doesn't initially spur him on that we can see. I know Ollie Watkins has said different things in interviews, but ultimately it's what happens on the pitch that does the talking. Yes, he got his goal today. He didn't have as many shots. He wasn't in front of goal as that much. He was playing a bit of a deeper game and making some runs and feeding the likes of Sancho and Rodgers on. But yeah, he was in the position to get the rebound from Hermanson, and he scored it. And that's all you can ask, really.
Yeah. And I said it was the last thing. It's the second last thing. We moan every week when it seems to ruin things, but VAR was used properly in this game. Penalty that was given to Villa. What was strange about it, the referee Paul Tierney allowed play to continue to see if Villa could fashion a chance from it, and then came to the decision that a foul had been committed, which just wasn't the case. It was one of the best defensive tackles you could probably see these days, and they cleared it up pretty quickly as well. They sent him to the monitor. And even though it went against my team, I'm happy for the right decision to be made in this instance.
Yeah, it's happy to say in hindsight that it was the right decision. And I've got to give a shout out as well to Mavropanos, who made the challenge.
Yep.
I think he was West Ham's best player.
Big time. The blocks he made in the first half, he was the difference between it being 3-4-0 at half time and the 1-0 that it was. So yeah, top work, Rob Richards and Alan Fox, who was at Villa Park today. If you check out all of our platforms, you'll be able to hear the highlights of that. And I'm going to get back in the TARDIS and get back to the other panel who will be joining me very shortly to talk about the rest of the weekend's action here on the Monday after. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
The Monday after from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio Station of the Year. That's the second time I'm mentioning it. Just another 13 to go. Well done, everybody, for being a big part of that incredible achievement. And thank you to the panel of judges and to everybody who's part of BHBN. It's not just a sports team. It's an amazing thing that we are very, very proud of indeed. So Solihull Moors, so we talk about Birmingham City's season petering out. Well, there's a I was thinking there's a danger that Solihull Moors' season could be petering out. It could actually get worse than that in terms of the form that they're in and the position that they find themselves in the table. 3-0 defeat at home to Halifax and a red card in the game as well. Alistair Taylor, who is with us, was at the game. First of all, Alistair, how did you find the whole match day experience, the whole reporting and commentating side of things?
Great experience, and it was great to be with Nathan yesterday, of course. But yeah, very disappointing day for the Moors. It didn't feel necessarily like a 3-0 game, but I mean, the red card was very frustrating. Violent conduct it was in the end. So that's going to be a 3-game ban immediately for Scott High, who's one of their best players. He's played in high divisions before, so yeah, they're really left short now for the next few weeks, and they haven't won in 9 games. It's a
Yeah.
real big problem.
Can you describe the incident? I mean, violent conduct is always quite vague now. I mean, when you see it pop up as an actual reason, but can you describe what happened?
Well, I think I only saw it out of the glimpse of a glimpse of my eye, and Nathan didn't really see it at all. I thought that Scott High had just trampled on the Halifax player, and we spoke to Chris Millington at the end of the game, and he thought that was the same. I've had to try to have a look at the footage after the game, and it looks like that is what happened, but it just you can't be doing that. Just a bit of frustration at the end of the game.
Okay, so you say it didn't feel like a 3-0 game, but unfortunately we're at the stage now where it is the result that counts. The performance is almost kind of irrelevant, and they are sliding down the table, aren't they? They are almost the team that everybody would want to play now with the kind of form that they're in towards the back end of the season. They need to be a bit careful, don't they?
Yeah, they absolutely do. I mean, they've got a big opportunity in midweek. They travel to Truro, who are at the foot of the table, but they are only 7 points ahead of the drop zone. So they do need to be really, really careful now that to not get caught up in that because they haven't won in their last 9, and you know, there's no signs that this run is going to end. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and,
they
and
need
the
to start picking up some points in
yeah,
quick.
absolutely. And the problem is as well, they're not losing 1-0, 2-1. They're conceding a lot of goals.
Yeah, they're conceding plenty of goals. I've just got it here. They've conceded 23 goals in the last 9 games. I mean, that's not great at all. They got beaten 5-1, I think last weekend by
Yeah.
Wealdstone. And I mean, Halifax barely had a kick of the ball, and yet they were still able to score 3 goals. So there's something clearly wrong there at the back. I think tactically, it's all wrong because they play 3 at the back. And normally teams that play 3 at the back in the modern day, they've got the wing backs, but their 2 wing backs have not got much defensive attributes almost. They're more attacking minded, and they're really left short against high quality sides.
Thank you very much for that. Ed Mackay has reported on Solihull Moors for BHBN as well. Are you concerned as well, Ed?
Very concerned. And Alistair and I were actually at the Gateshead game together 2 weeks ago. And what I was going to say is they're playing Truro, but Gateshead were 23rd in the league, and you thought that would be a walkover. And they started strongly, and then their endeavour just died off as soon as they scored, and then they conceded two to second bottom of the league. So beating Truro is no signed, sealed, and delivered result or anything. They really are performing very poorly. And the other thing that concerns me is that the manager, when I spoke to him, said, "Oh, we'll almost certainly get a response against Wealdstone now." Well, he didn't. They got
Mm.
absolutely hammered, and then he got hammered again yesterday. I mean, he could be in trouble because, like you say, they're really on the slide.
Absolutely, and of course we're going into the international break, which means, and this is one of the beauties of hooking up with Solihull Moors, is that we get to do more live commentaries during those international breaks, and it's going to be Solihull Moors who are live on BHBN this coming Saturday against Altrincham. Ed, you're going to be there, that's right.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be there. Kim's going to be there. I had to pull out because of a K-pop Demon Hunters themed
Well, there we
birthday
go.
party.
I totally sympathise with that. I've had to I've had to pull out of many an occasion due to the power of K-pop. So yeah,
There you
yeah,
go.
if you're a parent, you know, there's no doubt about that. But what is happening is that it's not just obviously Solihull Moors that we're going to focus on. It will be National Non-League Day this coming Saturday, which is something that happens every year. During an international break during the season, the day is devoted to highlighting non-league and grassroots football. So I think that's a good thing. You know, you want your fix of football. You're in no way interested in international footballs outside of tournaments. I'll put my hand up there. That's me. Then you need to get your fix, and this is the perfect opportunity. And Solihull Moors against Altrincham will be live on BHBM.
I don't know if Alistair would agree with this. He's been there a couple of times now, but I think Solihull Moors stadium and the atmosphere they create was really impressive. I was blown away by the crowd, the actual match day experience. I think is quality. You know, if you can't go and see your usual team, get down there.
Yeah, it's
Alistair?
great, and there's really a family atmosphere. There's so many. It's nice to see so many young kids turning up, and from you can see there's a ton of Blues fans, Villa fans that all come and watch Solihull Moors, and so that's great to see. And there's also, I mean, maybe less so with Gateshead because it was such a long trip, but there was a ton of Halifax supporters. I mean, they are quite a big club in that division, and that was great to see. And I think the attendance was just under 1,000. So let's hope it's
Wonderful.
a good attendance next week also.
Absolutely. Well said, both Ed and Alistair. Shall we cheer things up a bit? Shall we? Shall we go to Bristol? You know, somebody who could have gone to Bristol but decided he didn't want to pay the train fare because it was too much money, right? Decided to stay at home.
Yeah, I'm soon starting to regret that
Soon
decision.
starting to regret that. It is Jonathan Wimbush, the prolific George Campbell. I think we have to put him in that category now, particularly at set pieces. With the only goal of the game, rose for a header from a set piece, goal line technology. I mean, it was clearly over the line, and they held out quite comfortably at Bristol City. I mean, there's a team, Bristol City, who Birmingham City are in danger of mimicking. Really, they're dropping like a stone through the league, having been on the verge of the playoffs all season. But John, what a job West Brom went and did on 'em.
Yeah, absolutely. And George Campbell again, he's grabbed a few goals in 3 games, even scored an own goal against Sheffield United and get a 1-1 out of Bramall Lane a few weeks ago. So George Campbell really looking confident. He did well in the win against Hull the last time we was at the Hawthorns, that 3-0 victory. And yeah, it was really great. It was actually the first away league win since October the 1st. That was the 1-0 win at Carrow Road against Norwich. And it was also the first back-to-back league wins after the 3-0 at the Hawthorns against Hull. And this one, obviously, at Ashton Gate. It was the first back-to-back win since the opening 2 games, which was a 1-0 against Blackburn at the Hawthorns and a 3-2 victory against Wrexham at the racecourse ground. So yeah, it's and ironically, those are Albion's next 2 opponents as well in the league after the international break over the Easter weekend. So really good result for the Baggies again, and pulling away from the relegation zone after Leicester and Oxford lost, and of course Portsmouth lose drop points as well, and so did Blackburn, who do face Birmingham in their next game as well in the league. So West Bromwich Albion with the momentum.
They all look about a foot taller. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah,
Watching them against Hull, and they just have more about them. I mean, you said no, it was Rob Richards and Ed McCullough at Oxford about a month ago, and it was clear that James Morrison had said that is not happening again as far as
Yeah.
any West Brom team that I send out go.
One of my
And
Baggies friends actually texted me yesterday to say they're playing for Mozza. That's
Yes,
actually what it
there's
takes.
no doubt
Absolutely,
about
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Absolutely no doubt about that. And and they're winning second balls. I mean, they weren't winning first or second balls prior to that. Uh, and it almost a completely different team now.
yeah, absolutely. And the change of formation as well, with the previous two managers, Ryan Mason and Eric Ramsey, attempting the 4-2-3-1 formation, and whoever was the lone striker, whether it was Ona Hegabo or Daryl DK or Josh Maja, they all look very isolated in that formation. But now it's gone back to a classic 4-4-2, and you've got, it's kind of a rotation thing now between the three of them. Two of them start, one on the bench, who comes on later on in the game. It's all looks a lot more comfortable for Hegabo, DK, and Maja. And and Jed Wallace being back from injury as well. He's been very influential as of late. And of course, as we've already discussed, George Campbell, even getting in the goals himself.
No doubt about it. And like we said, the Easter break coming up, and no, the international break, then the Easter fixtures is what I'm trying to say. Upcoming, and they will tell us a lot about where West Brom are going to be. I mean, looking at the bigger picture, I mean, it could change in the course of the next 6 or 7 weeks, but Portsmouth look like the ones who have got the most to worry about at the moment. They got a hammering at QPR,
Yeah.
didn't they, yesterday? So it could be somebody else's turn in a month's time. That's how much it can change, of course. And Leicester only getting a 0-0 draw at Watford. The Monday after, from BHBN Radio, we're going to take another break, and then we're going to come back because the way things have worked out, we've got time for AOB, any other business, coming shortly.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
The Monday after, from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio. Like we said, we've got time for any other business. Now, being as though we have two Liverpool fans with us, this could be, I mean, first of all, I'm happy. I'm good. I'm content.
Of course you are.
I'm delighted.
Fourth is back to being yours to lose.
Well, yes.
Yes.
Um, well, you guys haven't heard this because of the edit, but I'll just say this quickly for your benefit. I was talking with Rob Richards earlier. It was a case of, will the real Aston Villa please stand up? And they did against West Ham from the first minute on the front foot. None of this ponderous, almost scraping their chins along the floor, waiting for something to happen. They went out there and they took the game to an informed West Ham as well. So. And my theory is, and as I say, I'll be very quick on this, guys, because we need to talk about your teams. But I said to Rob, my theory is that it's almost the opposite with Villa. When people say, "Oh, teams find it really difficult with balancing Thursday night and Sunday, I think Unai Emery needs Thursday night and he needs Sunday. I think it fires him up.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
I mean, yes, the injuries didn't help for McGinn and Tielemans, who Tielemans came back
But
today
he's coming back.
and what have you. But it's almost as like if Unai Emery's got one game a week to focus on, he almost overthinks it because he's got too much time to think about it. And I think
Agree with that.
because if you look at the start of the season, no goals in the first 5 games, up against Bologna then in the Europa League, 1-0 victory wasn't particularly impressive, but it lit a fire in them and they went off. So who knows? I mean, the international break is now awkward. You probably don't want it to come along, but we'll have to wait and see.
Emery is an interesting operator from that point of view. Obviously, we know he's a Europa League specialist, but that's not all. He, as you say, he seems to thrive on I would say motivating his team via that competition,
Yeah,
and
I
then he
agree.
gets performances out of them in the Premier League off the back of it. Because, as you say, when that he hasn't had those Europa League games, it's almost like he's done a bit too much tinkering, or he hasn't managed to get everybody fired up. But like you said, when he feels like he's the underdog, he makes those players really run through a brick wall for him. And I mean, I thought Liverpool's opportunity to overtake Aston Villa was while you were injured, while you had injuries, and we had some winnable games on paper. That would be our opportunity to overtake you and maybe accrue some points. I mean, even yesterday, we had the opportunity to go into fourth. I realise it would only have been for 24 hours, but that's the kind of pressure you have to put on the team above you when you're going for something. And unfortunately, and Enton and I discussed this on the live show yesterday, Liverpool just don't have that fight in them. They don't seem to have that same know-how they had with the previous squad. Now, this is one of the things I clarified on the previous show. This is not the team that won the championship last year. These are not the champions. There's a couple of players in there who won the league, but they're a year older and are underperforming. The rest of them are kind of new to this, and they don't seem to be getting the structure and the input from Slot that they're used to, which is, I don't know, one of the biggest characters the Premier League's ever seen,
Wow.
giving you a big hug and making you go for it. And Slot is in serious trouble. I'm somebody who's been empathetic. I'm somebody who believes he'll stay to the end of the season. But I think Enton's frustrations are greater than mine, even.
Well,
I don't know.
Enton, should the manager replace the last letter of his name with a W?
I'll well, uh, I have to be careful.
Shall I tell you why? Shall I tell you why?
You tell me
If
why.
if we go back a week,
So
right?
Bothersome.
Yeah.
We go back a week.
Yeah.
Tottenham Hotspur at home. Tottenham on their knees in
Yeah.
terms of confidence, emotionally, whatever. And we've seen it again today with them against Nottingham Forest. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool would have had them 4-0 up in 10 minutes. They'd have gone for the jugular straight away. And you just never got that feeling with Liverpool last week under Arne Slot.
But that's the way he plays anyway. That's the way Ed and I were, as we were discussing it yesterday, I was giving my opinions to Ed that we have that way of playing. It's very slow. It's very compact. It's very. You give the ball to Szoboszlai. He tries it. He tries to do something with it. And if it wasn't for him, the way he's playing at the minute, we'd probably be even more trouble. I think it's a possession way of playing, and I think he's been finally caught out because the Spurs game tells you enough that if you're 1-0 up, Spurs are the worst team in the Premier League at the minute. They are done. So
if your talisman and your focal point is injured within the first few minutes of the game, and you have a young, exciting, electric attacker on the bench, and you bring on Curtis Jones, who's been deputising for you at right back, you can see there's way too much being ponderous rather than going for a result. And he's not going for it.
This blaming the opposition and blaming the Premier League as well.
I mean, he didn't do
it's
that.
ridiculous.
He didn't do that yesterday, but that is a bit of nonsense. I almost feel like it's lost in translation, though. I think he's trying to say we can't figure it out. I don't think he's blaming the opposition. I don't think he's saying, oh, they won't play how we want them to. I think he is being critical, but he's just so Dutch about it that it sounds like
Dutch.
he's making
That's
an
a quote
excuse.
from Ed Mackay. He's being so Dutch. Paddy, hello. Paddy Silk is here. How you doing, Pad?
Not too bad. Bit shattered, mate. I had a lot to do yesterday last night, so
yeah, I saw this. Paddy, we've already talked Blues, so forgive us, Paddy. You were there, but then you were on stage. Like I saw this on LinkedIn.
I went to I was a compere at a charity concert, and I got roped in about weeks ago. I thought, not a good idea. This is not good, but I did it, and it was good. It was a great night. All the kids and charities and special needs kids, bless them, and all these great people at this charity concert in Sutton Coldfield too. there's an anniversary concert, so it was very nice. I was very privileged and very honoured, so it was nice, but nerve wracking to start off with. But I just got into the as we do, lads, in the commentary. We got going. It was
Yeah,
got
yeah.
easier. So thank you. All right.
No, lovely, lovely, and because we're talking because we've got a bit of time here, although we haven't got too much
Yeah.
time left.
Yeah.
About the teams that are dropping points that gave Villa the opportunity to really lay a marker down, which they did against West Ham. Man United are included in that, obviously dropping 2 points at Bournemouth on Friday night. How do you feel about that?
Do you know, I'm disappointed again because, but then again, Bournemouth, and I watched the game. They it's difficult at their ground to play against them. They're a good side actually, and I know I was looking for that young kid I do like Ryan, but he didn't. You know, he had a good game. But like you say, United again dropped the points again. I know we get this thing about Carrick and Champions League and whatever, but I'm not carried away. Like I'm not getting giddy. Put it that way, as Roy Keane will tell. I'm not getting giddy, but Bournemouth are good at home. They are good. They're a tough side. I know. I think Aston Villa have got to go there, haven't they? Bournemouth. Am I
No,
right?
no,
I might be wrong.
we've
Is it
been there.
is it one of the teams has to play? I remember rightly. I don't know which one it is.
No,
Um,
we drew 1-1 there about 6-7 weeks
right.
ago.
Well, you did well. That's a result. But like you say, yeah, I'm very disappointed. It's all to play for. Villa winning today 2-0. That puts it all back in the mix again. And Liverpool obviously losing yesterday.
And we haven't
I don't
talked
know.
about Chelsea. What about them? I mean, my
Yeah,
goodness.
yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I don't
Well,
know where this is going to go. Actually, this Champions League place. I've got to be honest with you. Villa look good now. Have they picked up some form now? Have United going to drop off now because they've they drew at Bournemouth? Are they going to drop confidence? What is going to happen?
And you
it's between
can't rule
Liverpool
out.
and Chelsea for fifth,
Well, yeah,
surely.
but there's still a Merseyside derby to come, and Everton are in potentially in the mix.
Well,
Brighton have won
Stone.
4 out of the last 5,
Mhm.
and I think Fulham are only 5 points off. So it's interesting. Enton, have you got anything on this quickly?
Well, again, those teams below us from sixth, seventh, eighth, that they're winning. Some of them are actually winning the games, and that's what probably it increases the pressure. So, like Chelsea, they've gone from a starting point to where they are now. Actually got beat 3-0, and they looked a different side to them like 2 months ago.
Yeah,
Like,
but
so
as long as
all
they,
the results have been all the results behind the top four, top five,
It's
they seem
embarrassing.
to be.
but as long as they respect the
Yeah.
ball, As long as they respect the ball in their huddle,
Let's huddle. Let's huddle, guys.
let's do
Ben,
all of that.
Ben,
Yeah,
can I come in, Ben, very quickly on the Blues thing? I know you want to talk about
yeah,
it,
yeah.
but
Go on.
I sense after what I've seen yesterday, and Kim was there as well, that I think they'll pull the plug on
You do?
Davies at the end of the
Okay.
season. Yeah, I've got a feeling, only a feeling,
Well,
only a feeling.
okay, and this is only putting 2 and 2 together, and I'm the worst one in the world at putting 2 and 2 together. I don't come up with 5. I usually come up with about 8 when I put 2 and 2 together. But it was noticeable yesterday that Chris Davies' press conference was very quick after the full-time whistle,
Short. Yeah.
which led me to believe, one, he's either feels he has nothing to say to the players in the dressing room, or he wants to get his media duties out of the way very quickly and then
Lot to
go and
say.
talk
Yeah,
to the players in the
yeah,
dressing
yeah,
room. But
yeah.
that's we've got 4 minutes to go. Alistair is with us. You mentioned off air, Alistair, Celtic fan. Of course,
Good
the
man.
Scottish Premiership title, thanks to Hearts, really, is actually front and centre in a lot of people's minds this year. But what about Celtic? I mean, Martin O'Neill, who obviously I've got a lot of time for as a Villa fan, in his second stint this season as interim manager, but he's not a miracle worker, is he? And the problems that have always been there are still there, and they go and lose at Dundee United.
Yeah, there's a massive lack of quality in that Celtic team, and it's for sure in my lifetime the weakest Celtic team I've ever seen. I mean, yeah, like you said, Martin O'Neilly's done a fantastic job, but he can't turn, players that aren't simply good enough into world-class players. Celtic have got a real struggle with strikers. It's their lowest ever goal tally at this point since 2010. And yeah, today they were so poor, completely outclassed, outmuscled, also lack of physicality in that team. And I think, you know, it is the best title race in Scotland and it is great for Scottish football. But for me as a Celtic fan personally, it's not a great watch. But I think Hearts are back to being favourites. I think after last week when they got beat, it was more shifting over towards the old firm. But now I think it's back on the table for Hearts to be champions, and I think
Okay,
three
then
champions now.
here's a question for you, and we'll finish on this. Would you be happy to see Hearts win the title if it meant Rangers didn't?
Definitely, Alistair. We don't want Rangers anywhere near this, and that's been. Go on.
Yeah, anybody but Rangers winning the
Yes.
Anybody but
title
Rangers.
would be good. However,
My
of
family would say
course,
the same.
Yeah.
yeah, would still like it to be us. There's still a chance, but yeah, 7 games to go, 5 points behind. But at least everybody's still got to play each other after the split. So
When
definitely tune into the Scottish
the split
Premiership.
is after the next round of fixtures, is that right? Or
Yeah,
there's one
so uh, the last game before the split is the 11th of April. And then there's 5 games after the split, and everybody in that top 6 plays each other.
and
The killie.
and as a Celtic fan, and you did tell us off air, it's Celtic and nobody else, which I admire that. Does that mean Scotland as well on
Yes,
international
yes,
terms? So
yes.
Come on.
Scotland is
so
my
an
international team.
an international break coming up where you've only got to concern yourself with friendlies. I mean, that makes a nice change going into the summer.
Alistair and Ireland then. Alistair and Ireland as well then.
I've got a soft spot for Ireland.
Thank you. Thank you.
What about Wales?
Yeah, we've run out of time, Enton. I'm sorry, we're done. We do have literally less than a minute to go. International break. I don't know what's happening with the show next week. There may be a Monday after. One thing I know is I am not doing it. I don't do international breaks. It's very Hollywood, but I stand by that. But that's where we are. All of our platforms are there, including Spotify for all of our match reports and commentary highlights, and you can listen to the Monday after in audio form on there as well. We are Station of the Year, which we're very proud of, and well done to everybody for taking part in that. For Enton Barefoot, Paddy Silk, Jonathan Wimbush, Ed Mackay, Alistair Taylor, thank you, young man, for joining us as well. I'm Ben Ellis, and this has been the Monday After.
Birmingham Sports.
With Ben Ellis. This is BHBN Radio.